My name is Benaya Cherlow. I will be 28 in August. My background is kind of unique, like typical Jews. I have 3 passports because I was born in Israel, but my mom was born in Beirut, in Lebanon. And then she moved to France. And my dad, he was born here in the Bronx, like in New York, but his parents fled the Holocaust to the US. So in my house, we speak 5 different languages. So probably the Third World War, we start in my Shabbat table.
You're just a mixed up kid.
Yeah, and when my mother language is Arabic, so if I will get emotion and I will speak Arabic, don't call the security guy. Like, it's all set. So I grew up in Israel. I came to the US to do my master's degree in Syracuse University, upstate New York. They told me New York, then I find myself in Canada almost, but it was a good experience. And then I moved to work on Capitol Hill for a Democrat congressman from Illinois, a Jewish one, Brad Schneider, if some of you know. And it was October 7. It was October 6 at 11 p.m. I was with friends out, and I just started to get some messages from friends in Israel and on Telegram and WhatsApp, and my commander from my unit called me. I'm a captain in the Armor Corps, in the tanks unit. And he called me at 11 and he told me something started. Like, make yourself like, be ready because we know it's gonna be serious. To be honest, nobody understood what's really going on in Israel for like the first 1, 2, 3 hours of the beginning. So he called me again at like 1:55. And he told me like, everyone called up, take the first flight and like, just come, we are going to Gaza. I already went to your house to take your stuff for your mom. Last time I've been in Israel before October 7 was the past Rosh Hashanah. So I didn't saw my parents for a year. And I didn't even like saw them before I went to Gaza, but he took all the stuff. I was on the flight from JFK at 8 a.m. on October 8. El Al called us and they told each reservist came to the JFK, we will put you on a flight. I took the first flight. We were over 60 people on the flight. It was unbelievable. We sat like between chairs on the floor. We hugged each other when we land. The Wi-Fi didn't work, so we didn't understand for what we are going to land for. It was a whole chaos. So I landed in Israel. We drove to Gaza. And I want to show you, I will take you to a journey from since October 7 to like what we are like dealing right now and maybe the day after the war. My first memory is it took 2 weeks to Israel, to the IDF to go inside to Gaza. 2 weeks. We were prepared on the Gaza border, Gaza Strip. We needed to like deal with all the kibbutzim, with all the terrorists who was inside in Israel for a week. And then after 2 weeks, we were prepared. So we stand on a line with the tanks. I have 4 tanks, like I'm captain, I have platoon, I have 4 tanks. And like somehow it's arranged that the first tank, like me, because I'm the officer, we are all singles. In any tank, there is 4 crew members. And we were all 4 singles. The second tank was like people who is married, and the third one was fathers. I don't know how it's came like this, but maybe it's smart. And I took the radio and I gave them the machine. I told them, Company 1, this is Lieutenant 1, ahead of us, Khan Yunis, 2,000 feet. I'm going first. Then 1B, you taking the right street. 1C, you cover for the left side. I gave all the command. And then the father tank, like the commander of the father tanks, he took the radio and he told me like, hey, young lieutenant, go to the side. We have been in Gaza like 6 times. We know every single like stone in Gaza. We know all the streets. It's your like first time here, go to the side. Like we are going first. So I took the radio and I told him like, I think you misunderstood me. Like I'm going first and then you going to the end. You have like kids and wife. And he took the radio and he said, you don't understand me, go to the side. We know every single street here. And it was a whole conversation and I told him like, I will not be allowed, I can't even think about it to speak with your kids or your wife if something will happen to you because Mostly what happened that if some of the tanks hurt, it's the first one. And I told him, we are all single, we have nothing to lose, we are going first, you are going at the end. He was forced me, he said, go to the side, we are going first. It was like a 30 minutes of conversation, but this was the spirit of October 7. Nobody thought about his own family. Like, there is a book of Benedict Anderson, and it's called Community Imagination. And he met U.S. Army soldier in Iraq, and he asked him, what are you going to fight 5,000 kilometers from your house? How do you handle it? And he said, I'm saving the United States. And then he told him, but you don't know the United States. You know your family, you know your friends, but you don't know all the United States. You just imagine it. But on October 7, when I turned up and I look on Israel side from Gaza, I saw Sderot, and I have two families in Sderot, and my brother-in-law live in one of the kibbutzim, his family, and I have family in all the base. Like, I know the people. I know the people who was in the kibbutzim. I know the people in the base. Like, it's not imagination. We know everyone, every single one near to Gaza. So it was all about the idea of Israel and less about your own story, your own family, your kids. On the second, when we entered to Gaza, on the second day, I wish I could maybe I will share you the picture after and you can send them. A dove just landed on my tank, a white dove, like the symbol of peace. And I woke up in the morning and inside of Khan Yunis, it was like, I can't even explain you how, it looked like it's wild. It's like everything burned, the Air Force like just strike every single building that treat us, a lot of people, and then just a little white dove on my tank. And I think this also framed for me what we are doing this, and I told my soldier Israel, we didn't decide to go to this war, we didn't choose this war. We don't want to live in a war, we want peace. But unfortunately, the way to get this peace, it needs to be through war. And this war is 100% justified. And what we are doing here, it's what we need to do here. So it was a really a really strong one. When we entered to Khan Yunis after, I think it was around mid-November, it's one of the biggest cities in Gaza when Hamas had a huge base inside. We got a mission to secure the humanitarian aid from Israel to Gaza. Now, I will try to give you some insights that you don't see on the press, and absolutely press are not from Israel, are not covering this, but most of the humanitarian aid to the Gazan people are shipping from Israel. Every day, 102 trucks. Like when you see the plane from Jordan, from Britain, from all this country, most of the food fell down in the sea. Then the Gazan people tried to swim, and we saw over than 100 dead bodies on the beach. When we think about the port, then the U.S. invested $300 million. It's break after 2 days because it will not fit to the Mediterranean Sea. Do you know where is the port right now? In Ashdod. Yeah. They succeed to bring only 50,000 meals. So the main shipping to Gaza with humanitarian aid is Israel. But when you look on the press, when you look on some news around about the Israel issues, you see Israel are starving the Gazan people. I will also share with you later, but I will give you a short that when I'm speaking Arabic because it's my mother language. So when I came to Gaza, when we came to Khan Yunis, I met twice Gazian people, really on the first days. First I met the kids, and those kids came to us, to my tank. And I thought they will never come to us because it's dangerous for them, but they have nothing to lose. They just came to us. So I talked to them Arabic, and they told me at the beginning, they told me Inta Syrian, your Arabic, it's not from here. Who are you? You're from Syria, you're from Lebanon, your accent. So I told them, yes, I'm speaking Arabic because my mom from Beirut, and then we spoke Arabic, and they told us we don't have food. So
but how did you answer where you're from?
I told them I'm from Israel, but Umi Waladi fi Lebanon. And they were really surprised. They don't speak Hebrew. And they told me we're starving, we don't have food. So we gave them our food. I took a video of this. And it was funny because when the second time we gave Gazian kids food, it was in Passover. So a little Gazian girl, she was 6 or 7 years old, she came to me and I gave her snacks. But these snacks was kosher for Pesach. So in Gaza, they have, all what they have, it's like Israeli brand. But so, like not in a wartime. But we never send to Gaza, like they never buy kosher for Pesach. So it was the first time she saw Bisli kosher for Pesach. She looked at me and she told me in Arabic, I don't want this, I don't know what it is. Then I tried to explain her, look, it's the same brand, it's such kosher to Pesach. It was an ironic conversation and like officer trying to explain Gazian girl what is kosher for Pesach because I wanted to give her Bisli. But when we enter, so one of our mission was to secure the humanitarian aid, all the tracks. And the conflict is like this. Nobody charge on this track at the moment they're getting to the center of the Gaza cities. There is UNRWA, the organization, they not really function, they cooperation with Hamas. So most of the trucks are rubbered like during the way to the civilians. But also, there is one square in Khan Yunis when all the trucks are going to. We all know, nobody are like charge of that. So people just going and take what they need. But what happened on the field is Hamas take control of this. I can also share with you after, like show you, we took so many pictures of Hamas arms terrorists on the trucks, taking them to like tunnels. And in one mission we had to Khan Yunis, and Hamas know, I will try to explain better. There is one main circle in Khan Yunis. So, I don't know, think about circle in downtown Atlanta, maybe, I don't know, Sunday afternoon, there is like 300 people like handing out there. In Khan Yunis, there is maybe 8,000 people in a one square of like 300 people. I took a picture, you see only hands of people, you don't see like bodies. And they know they're waiting for the humanitarian aid. And Hamas know that the IDF, we cannot go to the circle because it's dangerous to go with tanks over there. So we need to stop 200 feet ahead. And we got command, even if you recognize Hamas over there, we cannot shoot. Because you don't want to hurt civilians and you don't want to hurt the humanitarian aid. And Hamas know this. So they just waited for us to stop 200 meters, and then they are coming up from the tunnels, took the humanitarian aid. They know we cannot shoot. So 80% of the humanitarian aid, we're just going to Hamas. This is a fact. The conflict is that one of the mission, we lost 2 of our soldiers from my unit. They weren't in my platoon, but in other platoon, in my battalion. And we lost 2 soldiers of this, of bringing humanitarian aid to Gaza. And I had a whole conversation with my soldier because they told me, why should we give to Gaza humanitarian aid? If Hamas take it, we lost 2 of our members from the platoon. Why we don't want to do it? We will just not accompany the trucks to Gaza. And as an officer, I need to talk to them. And also for me, it was hard. I know these 2 people for 10 years. And then we spoke, and I didn't have a good answer. Like, it's not, I can't give them command to do that. So I tried to take them for the Jewish mind and to tell them, like, we all know that Hamas taking this. But my grandma, she fled from Auschwitz. The Red Army came to Auschwitz and rescued her. And she used to share me the story when the Red Army came and gave them food and took the Nazis from Auschwitz. She promised to herself that on top of everything we have, it's like the Jewish moral, it's the Jewish identity, it's the values we are raised on. And so I spoke with my soldiers and I told them, like, we all know that Hamas take 80% of the food. We know that. But we are Jewish people. We are Jewish. We have Jewish values. We grew up on like different values than Hamas, and we cannot make even 20% of the population to starve, even if Hamas take most of the food. Maybe Israel is the only army around the world who supply things to the enemy, kind of, or to the civilians of the enemy. But this is who we are. And if we will lose this, we will lose our identity and for what we are fighting for. So this is like a conflict that we soldiers have in a war, like daily life. If to danger themselves to take humanitarian aid to Gaza when they know Hamas take that, when they know we lost soldiers about this. And when we met another two Gazian girls, they told me in Arabic, il bithir, like it's the worst. It's like when someone say finish them, but he mean like kill them. So she told me like finish them. A girl, I told her, what is your future here? I asked her a question, and she told me finish them. We don't want them. She's a leader. She was like 7 to 10, something like this. And when we continue our like mission in Khan Younis, so what's the IDF mainly doing? It's called knock on the door. We are the IDF. They are the only army around the world who doing this policy. We knock on the door with phones, or we giving like from the air like some papers, and we're telling them in 2 days, in these hours, in these minutes, we're going to this neighborhood with tanks. So take what you need. We will try to not hurt your like house if there is no Hamas inside, and we don't want to hurt you. So live to somewhere safe. We gave them the time we are going to do the operation. This is it's the opposite of strategic of a war. So we did it in Khan Younis, and then we entered to one of like really little street, so my tanks could not like pass on the street. So I took one of my soldiers down to see where we can like pass, and then we heard Arabic from one of the house. We knew that it needs to be empty, like all of the people there already left. And we hear Arabic, so he immediately took the radio and he called to the whole unit to come because maybe it's Hamas in the house. And you need to also understand something. When you, like, I always like debating with my mom about it, if it's good or not good, if it is advantage to know Arabic in a war. Because from one side, it helps you, you can speak with the population, you can even understand maybe if you hear Hamas, but from the other side, it distracts you because you understand them. Like for normal Israeli guy who don't speak Arabic, every single word in Arabic, it's like Allahu Akbar, like kill the Jews. He's mentally, he just like disconnected to what he's hearing. But when I understand them, I trying to think what they're speaking about or like what's the matter. So most of my mandatory service, it was really bad for me to understand them because it was not a war, it was just like service. We needed to take some terrorists from the house, and then you can understand his kids. Like, why are you taking our dad? So you know you need to take him because he just did a terror attack last day, but you also like understand what the kids say. But in a war, it can help because when we came there, it was one Palestinian woman, and she shouted, it's only me and my mom, my old mom here in the house. And my soldiers don't understand Arabic. They brought all the unit, like we were like, I don't know, 10 seconds from to just like bomb the door and to go in because we got information there is no one in the neighborhood. So if it's someone, it's supposed to be Hamas. But I heard her and she said, it's only me and my old mom. I told to my unit, wait. And I'm telling you, it was like 10 seconds of decision. And I told them like, wait. It's a voice of like woman, an old woman. I took a megaphone and I told her, go out with your mom. We want to see that it's only two of you and open all the doors and the windows. And she told me in Arabic from the windows, I can't because my mom, she cannot walk. She's really old. She's on the sofa. She cannot walk. So I told her, why you didn't left with all the people? Like, why you didn't left with everyone? She said, like, nobody helped us. No Hamas, not all of the UNRWA, the United Organization for the Gaza, and they just left me and my mom, and I can't leave my mom, so I stayed here with her. I told her, so open the door and you come out. So she came out. I talked to her in Arabic. She told me like, I promise you, there is no Hamas, there is no one like, she told me you can shoot on the second floor. There is like, if you want, but my mom, she's on the living room. So she opened the door, and what I did, and that it's funny and ironic, but I ordered drones from Amazon to my unit to use them, because the IDF materials going to the people who do service like mandatory, like the basic service, and for the reserves, we don't have a lot of equipment. Like I use the same helmets that my dad used on 73. So I just ordered from Amazon $100 drones. I took the drones, I sent them inside the house, and I saw there is old grandpa on the couch. And what we did, and I will be happy also to share with you this picture, we sent someone on the logistic road to Israel 4 miles to Sderot, to an organization called Yad Sarah, and she brought us like a wheelchair. We took the wheelchair to Gaza. We took the mom, and we just take her to it's called Nakaz, to the place that there is organization who like taking the Gazan from the north to the south. No Hamas, no UNRWA, no either organization. Like, I will pass this just like that you will understand. It's look like a war, and then
anything you want to send me, I could send to everyone.
And just soldier taking like all Palestinian and grandma, and this is what I talk with my soldier on. This is like the moral of the IDF. There is also like let's say like few funny stories. I think we can like also share them. Like every like few weeks we can got a box from house, like delivery from your family and from organization or from the Jewish community. Like everyone sending box to Gaza, to soldiers. But each time it was the same things. It was like deodorant, like some snacks, like underwear, like shirts, just package. And then one day I opened the package and it was a cigar and bottle of whiskey and a paper from, "Hi, my name is Adi. I'm 6 years old from Ashkelon, and I know that's what you want." This kid, he's like the most smart kid I ever met. He has a great future ahead of him. I took also a picture of this, I will show. Like, he just sent us, like, he wrote in, like, even he spelled his name, like, the words, like, miscorrect, and, like, with nice Israeli flag, and cigar and whiskey. And say he understood us better than all of the organization that help soldiers. And also, like, once we got accidentally a female soldier box. So we opened the box, and it was like tampons and like underwear and like all what like women used. And we don't have a lot of room in the tank, so we just like threw them out. But one of my soldier, he's a Russian guy. And he told me that he saw in an old Soviet movie from First World War that the soldiers used tampons as a first aid care when they didn't have like something to pee. So we kept them. And after 2 weeks, one of our soldiers gets shot in the head, in the hand, and we used the tampons. It was fits 100%. It was better than anything. After that, we asked our medic to bring us only tampons. It's quick. It's just excellent. I think it needs to be in the policy. But there is also like really funny stuff that if you want to send something like to Israel, it is. Whiskey, cigars, and tampons. I think the best combination. On the end of November, we were the first unit we were on the front line, like the first one. So we were stuck in Gaza for a lot of days. Like first time we went out was after like 65 days or something like that. So in mid-November, I called a call from the spoken person unit, and they told me there is a delegation of congressmen and senators who are coming to Israel, and if you can come and like join them. So my unit gave me like few days to go out to take them because it was important. I took like a Richie Torres, it was Dan Goldman, David McCormick, someone from Fetterman office. Like if you like, it was a whole delegation from the Capitol Hill, and I drove them on a minivan from Tel Aviv to Kfar Aza, to one of the kibbutzim near to Gaza border. And when we were on the main road, it's like the South 95 road, like 4 road, like the big one who going to the south of Israel, about like 10 kilometers from Gaza, the minivan start to like jumping. So I asked Richie Torres and I asked McCormick, why are we jumping? Why the minivan are jumping? And I told him, like, do you think like the roads in Israel are broke or something? Like, why we are jumping? And none of them understood why. So I stopped the car, I took them out, and I showed them on the road that on October 8th, we didn't drove the tanks on the field. We drove on the main road between cars. It was like we were in a rush, like it was urgent. People called us from the kibbutzim, there is terrorists inside. We didn't have time to take the longer like side roads and through the forests. No, we drove on the main road between cars. Some of the tanks go over cars to get to the kibbutzim, but tank is a heavy machine and it's just crash the road. And it's still like this. And when you drive to Gaza, you're just jumping. And I think this moment maybe can give people who are not really familiar with this area a bit understanding about how it was look like on October 7, October 8. And when I took them to Kfar Aza, I took them specifically to one house of a couples. I think they were like 77 and 75. And what they used to do, these couples, is to drove Gazian kids every weekend to a central of like cancer for kids in Ichilov, in Tel Aviv. Voluntarily, taking Gazian kids from Gaza to Tel Aviv to take care of them cancer. Those couples, maybe they are the most lefty people in Israel. Inside them house, on the living room, it was like a burned flag of Shalom Achshav, peace now. This is the most lefty movement in Israel. And when I took those reps to the house, I showed them exactly when Hamas burned those couples in them house. When there is flag of peace now, when those couples drove Gazian kids to Israel voluntarily. And I told them, when you think about what Israel deal with, even when you want to think about the day after the war, just remember this house. Just remember what the Israeli people wishing for, and what happened to them on October 7. Hamas don't care if you're like lefty, righty, Jewish. There is few hostages Muslims still in Gaza, Bedouins. Like, they don't even speak Hebrew. They don't care about your gender, about your color, about your ethnicity, nothing. And I told those like congressmen like to remember these couples, because this is what the IDF dealing with. This is why Israel dealing with in Gaza. And when I came back to Capitol Hill after 105 days the first time, so many like representative or like staffers came to me with so many like, you killing kids in Gaza, you bombing people in Rafah. Like, I just understood there is a huge gap between what really happened in the field and what people think on the Hill, like what the press are coming there. In example, 1.5 weeks ago was like a huge committee about Rafah. And someone came and said the IDF came inside to Rafah, to the center of Rafah where is all the camp of the refugees. And I told him, like, what do you mean, like the center of Rafah? What street? What Rafah? Show me on the map. And then he pointed me, and this is not Rafah. Like, Rafah, it's not one place. They think like Rafah, it's a big city, like big, like, I don't know, look like Atlanta. But it's no. Because all the refugees camp, it just became to be like one piece who connect to each other, but this is not Rafah. Like, what they talk about that the Israeli IDF came inside to Rafah when there is also civilians, this is a false. And they cannot read the names on the map in Arabic. but those people are voting about this on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Also, like when it was our operation to rescue the rescue the 4 hostages, and everyone were so happy, and then some I will say that Rashida Tlaib from the squad. It's not politics. We had a whole. I will tell you like this. Before October 7, I met her. I met her because she wanted to pass a bill to do boycott on winery in the West Bank, in Somalia. I have Palestinian friends from there because I grew up with Arabic. My mom brought Arabic friend to our house. I was like part of so many initiatives for peace. So I have friends from Ramallah, from the West Bank, from Somalia. How do you call it? And one of them called me and he told me like, hey, we heard that there is someone want to do boycott on this winery. So I just want to let you know there is 8,000 employees in this winery. 7,500 are Palestinians. Please don't do this boycott. So I went to her office and I told her in Arabic, like, listen, if you want to help them, this is not the way to do it. You will just take them jobs. So this was before October 7. But when she and her advisor saw me, they told me, how do you justify like to kill 200 people for rescue 4 kids? 4 hostages. So I just asked her like, do you think there need to be like equality in a war? And she said, of course, this is what we need to do. Like there should be equality in war. So I told her, okay, so let's do deal in the hostages. Why one by one? Why are you asking for like 1,000? If you want equality, this is what you ask for. She left the room. Like there is so many misunderstanding about how the war look like or what is the conflict like. Many times, an example, I met one of really important reps, and I will say like this. I think it's funny. Like, you know, there is a word in Hebrew like visit. When I say go visit Israel, so what is visit in Hebrew? Levaker, right? Like if some of you speak Hebrew, visit it's levaker. But what is also levaker? Criticize. Exactly. Hebrew it's brilliant language. When you go to visit a place, you visit it, like you're going to see, but you also criticize. We are human. Like, I don't know, I came to Atlanta to visit Atlanta. I'm also criticize Atlanta. It's a human being. So Hebrew, it's a brilliant language. And I always told him, like, I can help you to criticize Israel better than you do. Like, go and visit Israel. It's okay. To visit Israel, like to criticize Israel, it's not bad. I'm do it. I don't think that our government is good, an example. But you need to know about what to criticize and what is really matter. So when I met Representative Jim McGovern from Massachusetts, by the way, we have a really good relationship. But the problem is that I'm Israeli, so I can't say Massachusetts. Like, even if you will teach me 10 times, I will say like Massachusetts. And he couldn't say Benaya, my name. He always said like Benaya. Like, so we make a deal. He called me like Benaya, and I called him Congressman from Boston. But he's a chairman of the Human Rights Commission of the Democratic side. He's a really important guy to speak with. And when I came to his office, because we know each other, he told me, you're the first Israeli who came to me since October 7. None of the Israeli authority from the government, none of the embassy people, you're the first Israeli. I was in shock because this is a big mistake of Israel to like just forgive from the Democratic Party. So when I talked to him, he told me like, I shared with him my story and everything that happened in Gaza. And then he told me, all this is fine. Like when you're going with tanks and on the ground to look for hostages, to kill Hamas, that's okay. But your second war from the air is not justified. And I was like, what second war? He was like, your second war. I was like, there is one war in Gaza right now. He said, no, there is 2 wars. There is one war in the ground, and we can like, we have criticized on it, but we can understand, but they're in different war from the air. And I told him, like, you know, we're working together, like the tanks and the ground unit with the air, it's all together. No, it's not Israeli interest to just bomb in Gaza for what? Like, we don't do that. It's not even like strategy good for Israel. But he said, yeah, but this is the second war you have. And then I just understood that most of them see the war like as a two wars. And when they criticize Israel and the IDF, they're speaking about the air. So I asked some of my congressman friends, like that I know them advisor, to do a committee about the air, to just give the people information why the IDF are striking Gaza, how we are doing this, what is the policy, how we make sure it's not like hurting people. And this is what I spent my time, also like invest my time since I came back to Capitol Hill, just to try to explain to reps how the war really looked like, what the IDF are like dealing with. Share with you something. When we enter, I show the two boys here a picture from when we came to Rafah. They couldn't give us to take phone with us because they can like find our location. So I took a Fuji, the old camera that with yeah. So I took it with me, and I showed them the picture from inside the base. We found like netbook that explain about tanks better than the IDF have. I took it because it will help me to like educate my soldier about the tanks. They had all the information. This is a big fellow of the intelligence unit. They knew everything about the tanks, how like to make the tank, how to burn the tank, how to make the tank out of action. Like they knew everything. Like they knew like about the little like things under the tank. Like, yeah. Yeah, so I think I think this is like the golden question that like people will like write book about that and like there's gonna be they're gonna investigate this, but I will say I can't say what led to October 7 because I was not in the military. I'm reserves, but I can say what happened in October 7 for the first moment till the IDF came to the south, and I think this is also people should understand. People called the IDF in 6 in the morning or 7, like there is terrorists in the kibbutzim, in our villages, like people taking hostages. And then people ask, where is the Air Force? Where is the helicopter? From the base in Tel Aviv, near Tel Aviv, there is like, I don't know, few helicopters. In the south, where was the Air Force? Why it took them like 16 hours to come? It's also a good question. And when you think about it, if I put myself in the bunker of the people of the head of the IDF, I don't know. We thought that Gaza, like what happened in the morning in Gaza, it's like just disruption from what's gonna happen in the north really soon. Like the IDF people, they thought like, all right, Hamas starts the war to like just attract Israel to the south, and then the real stuff will be from the north, from Hezbollah. And they will like just invade to Israel with like, they have more powers than Hamas. So all the Air Force was ready to the north. And it took them time to understand from the north, nothing gonna happen. Let's go to the south. So I don't know there is a lot of like things that make the October 7th to happen, like the intelligence, like the situation of the politics inside Israel, like the female soldier who said time after time, we see Hamas training, but nobody listened to them. There is a lot, but I think if we like trying to analyze what happens from the first message on October 7th, something happened till the IDF took control. I think it was like a whole mess, but also like things that maybe something happened in the north soon. So we should like put our most of our efforts like in the north.
Did you hear anything about Iran scrambling the IDF radio system? Which seems to me very difficult, which should be difficult to do.
Yeah, I'm not an intelligence soldier, but in our tanks we have radio, and sometimes we are going on like a Arabic music radio. So like it's just a radio thing. So maybe there is like, but we have a good cybers.
But once you were there was no problem with communication.
No, and also, and this is something that I want to say also, like, I want to, like, maybe it's also you or you were part of this, but we got a lot of donation from the American Jewish community. And I will just explain you how much it's helped us, because we get, like an example, I called my friends in Washington and I told them I need drones and I need like walkie-talkie. Because walkie-talkie, you cannot go on it in a radio. So we use walkie-talkie like my niece and nephews use, like a pink one, like, I don't know, it was just funny, but that was the best way to communicate in tunnels because the radio is not working. So walkie-talkie from Amazon, $40. Yeah. The war in Lebanon will not look good, not for Israel, not for Lebanon. Like, I think everyone understood that something need to happen, like the IDF should do something in Lebanon, but if we can avoid this war and to bring to Israel, like, people, there is like 2,100 people who just left their house from the north. If we will somehow can give them security without to go to war with Lebanon, I think it's the best. And if not, as my grandpa taught me, if someone beat you, beat him harder. We should be the first and do it harder. And your second question about the tunnels, I don't know if there is tunnels in Gaza that look like the metro in DC. They're huge, 7 floors. Like I'm like armor officer, so I didn't enter too much to the tunnels, but I was on first floor on the tunnels. They know what they're doing. They have really good engineers. And I took pictures, and when I was in the UNRWA committee, and I told them, like, if we count all of the money that Gaza received from the world, why everything is downstairs and not building a good civil society? And with UNRWA, an example, so UNRWA is a United Nations that need to help to refugees. There is only one place in the world that that if your grandpa was refugees, it will continue to his son and to his son and to his son, and it's in Gaza. Someone can be born tomorrow and he will be refugees by the law. I think it's insane, but most of that, UNRWA was them. They were charged to help refugees. If by 75 years and trillions of dollars, you don't succeed to take refugees, to make them to be civil society, so even if you are not care about Israel-Palestine, they just don't function. Like, I don't know someone who will say this is a good organization, even if he have no clue about Israel and Gaza. And that's what I'm trying to do on Capitol Hill. I'm not going like, in their face, like with my hand to the wall, like Israel and Palestine. No, answer me, like you supporting UNRWA, so why you support a fellow organization? Give me your answer. It's really hard to count the days because you're fighting during night. Sometimes you're sleeping like few hours during the days. You don't know when it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You don't have phone of you. Like you don't know what day it is. But when Friday coming, so the like Chabad here, so the rabbi of the army giving you like wine and challah, so you know Friday is coming. They can give us like 4 times in a week Friday wine and challah. We will think it's Friday. Like this is our sign. So we only know where it's Friday coming, and what's happening that mostly we're staying in like one big house that we found, and when it's time to shul, so the religious people going to the second floor and the secular staying on the ground to secure the house. And someone from the secular soldiers, he started to sing like Hallelujah, the Leonard Cohen lyrics. And we started to sing Lecha Dodi, and somehow he just mixed, and we just started to sing Lecha Dodi with the melody of Hallelujah because we were confused by them. But it became to be really pretty. And they also did it in the show, so it was the same. But we don't have a lot of sleep. Another time, when I came back from the Lebanese border to Gaza, I drove 6 hours. And I came in, it was like 3 a.m. I wanted to to sleep for a few hours before I have mission. And one of my soldiers came to me and he told me like, hey officer, wake up, there is, on the logistic road, there is one jeep and they need to give you something like supply. I told him like, guys, I'm going to sleep, I just drove 6 hours, you going and take it. And they told me like, no, they ask for officer. So you pretty know that, but in reserves, like I have soldiers, they're like they're older than me, but I'm the officer. So it's like a joke when they're like really simple soldiers, but they're going to the officer, hey, they need the officer because they don't want to go by themselves. So they woke me up and so no, they're asking you, and I told them like, guys, I'm not going down. I know they don't need officer. You going? I drew. We're talking, then I was like, okay, I will just go down. I went down, and it was my brother and my brother-in-law. They saw my unit, my flag unit on the tanks, so they knew I arrived to Gaza. So they came and we took picture for my mom, because we are 7 kids. We were like 5 boys in Gaza, 2 brother-in-law and 2 nephews. So my mom didn't get to sleep. We slept like a few hours. I think my mom didn't sleep for 100 days.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think we are going to see more hostages rescued? And do you think the IDF know where they are, get to them, how these 4 were, is a miracle?
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see another?
The pessimistic, I think a lot of them, unfortunately, not alive. If they're in the tunnels, it's, I don't want to say impossible, because the IDF show like they can rescue everyone from everywhere, but it's really hard to find. The tunnels, it's not like a tunnel, I don't know, in Kentucky, the caves. It's a metro. You entering and you have like 17 places to go. I think it's impossible to find them there. But I hope we know there is hostages alive. The pessimistic is the last deal that they offered months ago. They told Hamas bring us 40 hostages, and Hamas refused because he even cannot find 40. And also you can see the 4 hostages they rescue. Who captured them? Like families. Not Hamas, like someone who just wanted the money and like, yeah, but let's hope. The conflict will lead to 2-state solution, if we want to or if we don't want to. This is like the movement that the world are going to. When I speak with people on the Hill who want 2-state solution, I'm just trying to tell them that the way to get to this policy is to destroy Hamas. You can be the most lefty person who think we need 2-state solution. So you need to be the first one who said, let's destroy Hamas. Because with Hamas, we will not have this policy. I had a really strong conversation with Bernie Sanders about the ceasefire. And he thought the ceasefire looked like the IDF and Hamas putting them weapon down and sit on the table. And then I showed him, and I can show you after, one of the most hard places we fought, it was in UNRWA elementary school. Now, it's a school, so it's hard to fight there. But think about it, you enter to a classroom, and you know there is terrorists who hiding inside. So you shooting, and then you see like a little chair like flowing up, and like paint from the wall, like your area, you're in a classroom where there is kids. Like they're not there, but like all the materials. So we captured it. When the ceasefire happened, the first, we needed to take like 1.4 miles north. When we came back, we needed to fight again in the elementary school because Hamas take it back and fought from there. And I took with me netbooks. I can show you after what I found, what they teach them kids. And when it was a committee on foreign affairs, on UNRWA stuff, I brought like 70 with me, all of my suitcase. I just throw them to each congressman who financed this. Like, this is my text, this is your text. Like, if you want better future for them, look what's the education there. So I'm trying with evidence to show them like, and I think my unique identity, kind of like my unique story, like my mom, she's Lebanese. I speak Arabic, I grew up in the West Bank, like, I have Palestinian friends. I want to help them. I think like we can help them, but the way they want to help them, this is not going to help them. Like I said, like the boycott on the winery. They think it's the most things to do to hurt Israel. They just hurting Palestinians.
They get the same.
Okay, American people disagree about everything, abortion, tax, even how to make coffee. But there is only one consensus things all over America. Most of America, let's say like 85 to 90% standing with Israel. Doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, standing with Israel. It was consensus. One of the only issues that America agree on. We should like keep on that, because I will tell you from the Hill, from the rooms, it's started to be like partisan. Like if you're supporting Israel, you're Republican. If you're not, you're Democrat. It is absolutely big mistake. Every day I'm taking MKs, like a member of Knesset from Israel, to Capitol Hill, and I told them, you're going to meet Democrats. There is Republican, they're in our side. Go to meet the Democrats. Speak with them, their own language, in Democrats' language. And I think Israel doing really big mistake on this. That's what I'm trying to do. I brought like Israeli soldiers, American Israeli like me, and we are going every week to congressmen to talk to them, most of them Democrats, because Israel don't speak with them. And I think like Republican, we have a lot of, but let's say like 80% of them are not active for Israel. So if Israel want to like stay with America as a first ally, we need to work with Democrat and Republican on Israel issue. It's not need to be a partisan issue. Second statement, and it's for you, that my father was born here, so all of my dad's side are in the US. And what happened since October 7 really changed my mind, because since October 7, until October 7, the central and the front of like fighting for like Jewish heritage, Zionism, like Israel, it was in Israel. Israel, they're fighting for the name of Israel, for the idea. There is IDF, they're fighting against Iran. And the Jewish communities are like the ATM. Like my uncles, they send me money. Or one of my cousins came to do gap year in Israel. But since October 7, I think it's totally changed. The front and the central of fighting for Zionism, Israel, anti-Semitism, Jewish heritage, it's in the US. It's not in Israel anymore. When I was in Gaza, I was not afraid for a second. I'm surrounded by the IDF. No one tell me anti-Semitism stuff. I can go with Yamka and Magen David. I'm going to campuses and I'm okay. When I came here to Georgetown, it was harder than Gaza. It was like 600 pro-Palestinian with bloods on the hand, told me like, you killing kids. Like, I thought, okay, the front of fighting on Zionism and Israel, it's here, it's not in Israel anymore. And I think all of us, like as a Jewish community who want to flourish here, should do this changing mind. Like, I will say something that people will not love to hear. We don't need to send money to Israel. We need to invest here in the Jewish, in the campuses, in the young professional, in the youth movement. They have the rights to raise with like proud identity, and they will feel safe, and they will feel like they can go how they want to be in the US. And in Israel, there is a war in Israel, but the front of against anti-Semitism, Zionism, it's here. And I'm trying to say that in Israel as well to so many people. You should like, as the Jewish community, okay, I will explain you. Without you, I didn't have a helmet in Gaza because Israel didn't supply us. So the Jewish community gave us. The Jewish community in the diaspora were the first people who gave us things that we need. Right now, it's Israel time to help back and to understand that the front and most of the efforts should be in the US and not like only in Israel. And I took it from like the goal of my life to try to establish this here. I'm in DC. If you will ever be in DC, if you ever want to come to Capitol Hill, I'm always available. And if you have more people, friends in community or like organization, I'm always happy to come to speak. I'm not charged. I'm not taking any fee. I'm doing this because I think this is the most important things we can do, that I can do right now if I'm not serving in Gaza. It's to be with normal uniform here in the US and talk with people like this.
So thank you very, very much.